My boss hired me to be his fake girlfriend to help him save face. I was struggling to give him a fake hickey with my lipstick when his ex made a grand entrance with her male assistant. The guy was 6 feet 0 inches, lean, with gold-rimmed glasses, the whole sexy nerd with a dark side vibe. I glanced at my boss's furious eyes. Then my gaze met the sly fox's smiling one. Damn it, we were already losing. This wouldn't do. I turned and smeared the lipstick right onto my boss's lips. I shifted slightly to block the view from across the room. Smudge it with your finger. Smudge your lips. I whispered urgently. My boss didn't get it, but he did it anyway. I gave him a quick once-over. The hickey I'd drawn was peeking out from under his collar, and his lips now had the faint, smeared look of a post-makeout session. Seeing nothing else amiss, I stepped aside. His ex-girlfriend didn't seem to react at all, just calmly sat down in the chair the man beside her pulled out. The sly fox, however, raised an eyebrow. Mr. Reed, you certainly seem to be a man of the people. He gestured pointedly to his own lips. It's a little obvious. I handed my boss a wet wipe, signaling that he could wipe the lipstick off now. Then I turned with a smile to face this seasoned player. Sorry about that. We just can't help ourselves sometimes. I'm sure you understand. My eyes fell to his hands, which were resting on the table. I could see the faint remnants of nail polish that hadn't been completely removed. The man looked down at his hands and feigned a moment of realization. Oh, my. Well, isn't this something? He held out his hand, pressing his lips together as if embarrassed. Mr. Reed, Ms. Webb, my apologies for the poor first impression. Let me introduce myself. I'm Liam, Ms. Moss's new assistant. I smiled and shook his hand. Not at all. I'm Helen Webb. We look forward to working with you and Ms. Moss. Our eyes met, and sparks flew. Humph. Looks like I've met my match this time. A day earlier, when I first heard what my boss said, I thought I'd misheard him. Boss? What did you just say? Nathan Reed stared at the financial report, his tone as cool as ever. You heard me. Triple bonus this month to pretend to be my girlfriend. I tilted my head, confused. I'm happy to help, but why? As a handsome, wealthy, and successful golden bachelor with a squeaky clean personal life, my dear boss naturally attracted admiring glances wherever he went, which caused a few minor headaches for both of us at work. But for one, the women were all rather reserved and never threw themselves at him. For another, the Reed family was very open-minded and had never meddled in his love life, which had been non-existent for 5 years. They never pressured him into marriage or forced him into a business alliance. So, what was this all about? I stared at him, determined to get an answer. Nathan silently flipped through the document. I silently stared at him. He silently signed his name. I was still silently staring at him. Finally, he broke. Fine, I'll tell you. That woman, Monica Moss, who's coming to the office tomorrow to discuss the partnership, he paused awkwardly, is the one who dumped me 5 years ago. I blinked. You mean the girl who fell for someone else, but you couldn't bring yourself to break up with her and plan to just pretend you didn't know, only for her to dump you a week later? Nathan shot me a look. You didn't need that many adjectives. He looked away again. But yes, that's her. I propped my chin on my hand. So you want me to be your fake girlfriend to hide the fact that you're still in love with her? A sharp glare shot my way. I am not still in love with her. I leaned back to dodge the daggers in his eyes. You know, not seeing someone for 5 years, then hiring a fake girlfriend for the reunion just to prove you're over her, we normal people just call that still carrying a torch. He looked like he wanted to argue, but unfortunately for him, he had never won a single one of our verbal sparring matches. Fine. Nathan dropped his pen in defeat. So what if I'm still in love with her? I didn't get it. Then why don't you use this chance to win her back instead of pulling this fake girlfriend stunt? His eyes widened. Are you kidding me? She fell for someone else, and I was willing to accept it and pretend I didn't know, but she still broke up with me. It's been 5 years. And now, when we see each other again, you want me to tell her I'm still in love with her and want her back? He slammed his hand on the desk and stood up. I have some dignity, you know. And so, for the sake of my boss's dignity, I was now his assistant and his girlfriend. I glanced at Nathan out of the corner of my eye. From the moment Monica walked in with Liam until the end of our initial discussion, he hadn't said a word. He just silently stared at Monica. Others might not have noticed, but to someone like me who's known him for over 20 years, he was a walking volcano on the verge of erupting. Sigh. I guess it was understandable. Even though Nathan wouldn't admit it, his actions showed he was still holding on to a sliver of hope. Hope that Monica still loved him. Hope that she'd be jealous when she saw he had a new girlfriend. But instead, not only was she not jealous, she brought her own new boyfriend, who was every bit as good-looking as Nathan. Across the table, Liam smiled and thanked the assistant from our department who brought them water. In that instant, I could have sworn I saw little pink hearts in our colleagues' eyes. This can't be happening. Is there no one on our side in this conference room who can hold their own? If they can't do it, I will. I'm going to save face for my boss. I discreetly cleared my throat, about to speak, when I saw Monica shiver slightly. The next second, my hand shot out under the table to stop Nathan from getting up. What do you think you're doing? Are you about to give her your jacket? I shot him a disapproving look, gesturing for him to watch Liam. Look. Does she need you to? While we were having our silent argument, Liam had already taken off his suit jacket and draped it over Monica's shoulders without a second thought. See? I told you it would be cold, he said softly, with a hint of playful scolding. I told you to wear an extra layer, but you never listen. Monica smiled gently. Sorry. But I have you, don't I, Liam? It was the first time I'd heard her speak today. Contrary to what I expected from her cool, aloof appearance, her voice was low and soft, with a tone that could send a shiver down your spine. But, Liam? Wait, she called him senior. Liam fits as the equivalent of that. I'll just use his name. While I was lost in thought, Nathan stood up anyway. He stared coldly at Monica. Since when did you have a senior like him in your life? Monica's smile vanished as she stood up too. Of course you wouldn't know. He was my senior when I was an exchange student at Stanford. She lifted her chin, her voice laced with sarcasm. You weren't by my side back then. The other colleagues in the room suddenly found their shoes very interesting, not daring to breathe. I quickly waved my hand to dismiss the poor employees, gesturing for them to leave. Oh my God, how did the atmosphere get so tense? I tugged on Nathan's sleeve. Nathan? Calm down, don't make a scene. He took a step back, letting me pull him slightly, and seemed to come back to his senses. Sorry, he exhaled. I lost my composure. Monica's gaze swept over my hand holding Nathan's. After a moment, a corner of her mouth twitched up. It's nothing. She took Liam's hand. We'll be going now. I hope that next time, Mr. Reed won't, she said, enunciating every word, lose his composure. She mocked me. She mocked me. Nathan paced back and forth in his office like a frog on a hot plate. I sat on the sofa, painting my nails. I heard. She mocked you. The frog hopped over to me. And the nails. That's right, the nails. She used to love secretly painting my nails, and now she's doing it for that punk. The frog gritted his teeth. I admired my freshly painted nails. Liam is older than you, you know. You can't really call him a punk. Nathan stopped pacing. You got his file? I pointed to the documents on his desk. Yep. Go take a look. Liam, 2 years older than you and Monica. He was indeed her classmate at Stanford. After getting his PhD, he stayed on to do research until a few months ago, when Monica invited him back to the country to work at her family's company. He's currently her most trusted assistant. Nathan flipped through the file. What about their relationship? When did they get together? It's personal, but as it happens, I have a middle school friend who was vaguely acquainted with Liam when she was studying abroad. I made a tiny gesture with my fingers. Apparently, last week, the same day we got the proposal from Moss Corp, Liam made a post on his social feed. The picture was of Monica, and the caption was, "Here's to new beginnings." Nathan read the text from the screenshot in the file, word by word. I shrugged. So? It's a new relationship. They're easier to break up. You gonna make a move? Win Monica back? Nathan stared at Monica's smiling face in the picture for a long time before his composure returned. Forget it. No need. I was a little surprised. This wasn't like him. Really? You're sure? Should I keep up the fake girlfriend act? He whipped his head around. Of course. She's already mocking me this much when I have a girlfriend. If she finds out you're a fake, how could I ever face her again? But is this Liam guy really trustworthy? Nathan kept flipping through the file, and the more he read, the more he frowned. He's dated way too many people. 1, 2, 3, 4. 7. He looked up at me for confirmation. Is that right? He's been in 7 relationships? I nodded and added, 7 confirmed relationships. You know, people he was just dating. I made air quotes, don't count. So he likes to play games? Just like you. Nathan blurted out. I held up my hands. I agree with the second part of that sentence, but I object to the first. I don't consider myself a game player. I just have a tiny bit of a controlling streak and like to use a few small methods to guide my partners in the direction I prefer. Nathan paced back and forth, finally making up his mind. No way. The guy's a total playboy. You need to set up a meeting with Monica. I have to tell her about this. Ugh, based on a few clues, I have a feeling Monica already knows. But I raised my hands in surrender. You're the boss, you sign the paychecks, you give the bonuses. You call the shots. The lights were dim, the sound of a cello weaving through the air. But the 2 people at the table had faces colder than a winter frost. What did you want to see me about? Monica's tone was as icy as her expression. Business should be discussed at the office. She glanced around the restaurant, a cold smirk on her lips. A place with this kind of ambience doesn't seem very appropriate. Nathan's face was rigid. It's not business. It's personal. Monica raised an eyebrow. I thought we broke up 5 years ago. What personal matters could 2 people who have already broken up possibly have to discuss? You. Nathan's brow furrowed angrily. I made a big X with my hands from across the room. He turned his head and took a deep, restrained breath. Do you have to talk to me like this? Monica lifted her chin defiantly. Sorry, but this is how I talk to my ex-boyfriends. Nathan closed his eyes, trying to suppress his anger. After a few deep breaths, he still couldn't hold it in. Fine. I'm the ex-boyfriend. I deserve your sarcasm. But what about your current boyfriend? Is he so great, so worthy of your love? Do you know how many women he dated before you? Do you know how many women he's gone out with, slept with? What do you like about him? That he's gentle? That he's thoughtful? He was getting worked up, his words coming faster and faster. How do you know his gentleness and thoughtfulness are only for you and not for everyone else? Didn't you used to hate sharing things with others? What, did your tastes change? Are you into Mr. Popular now? Yes. Monica's expression suddenly changed. She raised her voice. I hate sharing things with other people. I especially hate sharing a man. Her voice was trembling, on the verge of tears, but her words were laced with fury. So what right do you have to call Liam up Mr. Popular? At least he wouldn't make me share him with someone else. He wouldn't humiliate me like that. As if she couldn't take it anymore, Monica shot up from her chair and threw one last sentence at him. At least he's not like you. I emerged from my corner table and cautiously approached Nathan. Boss? You okay? He looked up, the anger gone from his face, replaced by pure confusion. What did she mean? That I have no right to call her Liam Mr. Popular? What does she mean? At least he wouldn't make her share a man, he wouldn't humiliate her. As if I would? His face fell, and he lowered his head again. Is that really what she thinks of me? Ahem, I cleared my throat. From what Ms. Moss was saying, it sounds like you've already done something like that. Nathan's head snapped up. I haven't. How could I ever do anything to betray her? The more he thought about it, the more hurt he became. How could she say that about me? Maybe, I ventured, there was some kind of misunderstanding. I racked my brain, trying to analyze the situation. Look, maybe 5 years ago, there was a girl you were a little too close with, and it gave her the wrong idea? No way, he said, frowning as he thought back. He denied it. I was always very careful. There's no way I did anything that could be misunderstood. He thought for a moment and added, besides, you were in San Francisco 5 years ago. Who else in my life could she have possibly misunderstood things with? We stared at each other. After a few seconds of silence, he muttered, I only ever had her, and she still says this about me. That Liam guy has probably been with countless women, and yet she defends him like that. No, she must have been tricked by Liam's smooth talking. His expression startled me. I have to expose his true colors. Do we really have to do this? It was a weekend morning. I should have been enjoying a loving embrace with my soft, warm bed, but instead, I was woken up at the crack of dawn by a call from Nathan. It was only 8 o'clock. And now I was forced to sit in a car with Nathan, staking out Liam's apartment building, waiting for him to potentially leave. I reached for the door handle. You know what, I think I'll just go home. No. Nathan ruthlessly hit the car lock, his expression grim. Aren't you my most loyal friend and my most trusted assistant? I am, but... Nathan carefully scanned every car leaving the garage. Then, my most loyal friend and most trusted assistant, I am now requesting your help. I was speechless. But... trying to find evidence of Liam's infidelity by stalking him just seemed so unreliable. Before I could finish my sentence, Nathan stomped on the gas. There he is. We followed him. Until Liam's car stopped in front of a bakery. The moment Nathan saw Liam walk into the shop, a dark cloud formed over him. This was our favorite bakery back in college. Monica loves the sandwiches from here. She actually told him about this place. I rubbed my nose. Maybe she didn't tell him. Maybe he found it on his own. Nathan turned and stared at me without a word. I held up my hands in surrender. Okay, fine, I know that's highly unlikely. Completely oblivious to Nathan's simmering rage, Liam walked out of the bakery with a bag and then headed into the flower shop next door. When he came out of the flower shop, he was holding a bouquet of cappuccino roses. Nathan was squeezing a plastic bottle so hard it was crinkling. Cappuccino roses are Monica's favorite. She was always so happy whenever I gave them to her. I tried to shrink myself against the car window, desperate to escape the vortex of a jealous man's mutterings. The shop owner ran out after Liam and handed him a brown paper bag. Nathan stared intently at the bag. That's definitely a succulent. Monica likes to keep a succulent by her computer. She says looking at it after staring at a screen for too long makes her feel better. But she always ends up killing them. I used to be the one who bought her new ones regularly. Liam put everything in his car, then leaned against the door, waiting patiently. It wasn't long before a clearly dressed up Monica appeared in our line of sight. Looks like a date. I snuck a peek at Nathan. His face was ashen. Liam took the bouquet out of the car and handed it to Monica. She did seem to love those roses, just as Nathan had said. Because I saw her smile. A really sweet smile. Like a summer peach, ready to burst with sweet juice at the slightest touch. Liam leaned in closer to her, and their shadows gradually merged in the sunlight. They shared a kiss. 10 yards away. The plastic bottle in Nathan's hand let out a sudden, gut-wrenching groan. Seeing Liam and Monica get back in the car, he grimly stepped on the gas and followed. The further they drove, the worse Nathan's expression became. By the time Liam's car pulled into the garage of Monica's apartment complex, his face was dark enough to drip ink. Helen. I turned to look at him. His gaze was cold and heavy, filled with the oppressive weight of a coming storm. You can go home. I'll wait here. But how long would he have to wait? I opened my mouth to say something, then gave up. I knew he wouldn't rest until he saw Liam leave. He wouldn't give up. At 9 o'clock the next morning, I got another call from Nathan. His voice on the phone was hoarse, laced with a pain he couldn't hide. He just left. I was a little worried. Nathan, are you? He didn't answer, just fell silent. Only the sound of his breathing came through the line. A few minutes later, he let out a soft, bitter laugh. Forget it. It was as if he was taking the time to convince himself. He was silent for a while longer. When he spoke again, there was a choked sob in his voice. Let's just leave it at that. It's over. The host pushed open the door to the private tea room. I was still thinking about Nathan's "it's over," so much so that when I saw the person in the room, it took me a moment to register. Huh? Aren't you? Monica's grandfather, Mr. Moss? Mr. Reed Sr., who was brewing tea, looked up and waved me over with a grin. Helen, you're here. Come, come. He turned to Mr. Moss. Old Moss, let me introduce you. This is Helen. Her father worked as my good-for-nothing son's assistant for over 30 years, and now she's following in her father's footsteps, helping Nathan out. Mr. Reed Sr. gave a thumbs up. I'm telling you, this girl's skills are top-notch. Mr. Moss smiled and nodded. Excellent. A fine young woman indeed. You're too kind, sir, I said quickly. Mr. Reed Sr. waved his hand. Oh, no need to be so formal with him. Sit down, Helen, sit. He picked up his teacup and blew on it gently. Helen, do you know why we asked you here today? I'd had a vague suspicion before, but the moment I saw Mr. Moss, that suspicion became a certainty. You and Mr. Moss want to know about the collaboration between Mr. Reed and Ms. Moss, don't you? The old man chuckled. Collaboration? Heh, we'll leave work to you young folks. He jutted his chin. Us old men just want to know how things are going with them, romantically. I wasn't sure how to put it. Should I tell you your grandson gets yelled at, gets the cold shoulder, and gets mocked every time they meet? Should I tell you your grandson is still carrying a torch for her, but Ms. Moss has a new boyfriend? Should I tell you your grandson stalked her new boyfriend to expose his true colors, only to get his own heart broken and spend a week drinking at home after work? In the end, I decided to employ a little linguistic artistry. I feel like Mr. Reed and Ms. Moss have very different understandings of their relationship. Sigh, Mr. Moss let out a breath. I knew it wouldn't be that simple to get them back together. When they broke up 5 years ago, it really devastated our Monica. Mr. Moss set down his teacup. For a whole month, she locked herself in her room every day. She couldn't eat, couldn't sleep. She'd zone out mid-conversation and start crying for no reason. She lost so much weight in just 1 month. Her parents tried to talk to her, to ask why they broke up, but she wouldn't say. We were so confused. Weren't they always so sweet together? Why the sudden breakup? And if they were going to break up, you'd think she'd be happy about it, but instead she was so miserable. Mr. Moss shook his head. I really don't understand you young people. Something didn't feel right. You're saying that after the breakup, Ms. Moss was also very heartbroken? Mr. Moss answered definitively, that's right. At first, we thought it was Nathan who initiated the breakup. But Monica said she was the one who did it. It's true. From Monica's reactions these past few times, she still cared deeply about their past relationship. Just like how Nathan wouldn't have hired me as a fake girlfriend if he didn't care anymore, Monica wouldn't lose her composure around him if she was truly over it. In that case, Nathan's theory about her falling for someone else didn't add up. No one who's fallen for someone else would be that heartbroken after dumping the boyfriend they no longer loved. Mr. Reed Sr. slapped his thigh. Nathan was acting really strange back then, too. He wouldn't say a word all day, just walked around with a long face. They had originally planned to go abroad for grad school together, but after the breakup, Nathan decided not to go and just stayed here. His mother told him that if he couldn't let go, he should go win her back. But he just said, "This is what Monica wants." The old man nudged Mr. Moss. "Old Moss, isn't that strange? These two kids, neither of them wanted to break up, so why did they?" Mr. Reed Sr. turned his head and looked at me expectantly. "Helen, how about you go ask them? Find out why they really broke up. Not the superficial reason, the truth. The real story." I gave a strained smile. But this is between Mr. Reed and Ms. Moss. Mr. Reed's side is one thing, but Ms. Moss's, it wouldn't be appropriate for me to get involved. Mr. Reed Sr. S. eyes widened. "Hey, you little rascal, you think I'm old and senile, don't you? Aren't you pretending to be Nathan's girlfriend right now? It might be inappropriate for others to ask, but how could it be inappropriate for you? With that clever mind of yours, when you were a kid, was there ever a cake you wanted that you didn't get? The fights you instigated between Nathan and the other boys, did you ever get caught in the crossfire?" The old man rolled his eyes at me. "Getting information out of people is something you can always do, unless you don't want to." I felt a little embarrassed and mumbled, "Mr. Moss is right here, could you at least leave me some dignity?" The old man's face turned serious. "Are you going to ask or not?" I surrendered. Yes, I'll ask. I'll get to the bottom of it." Only then did he chuckle. "And after you find out, see if you can find the right remedy," he waved his hand, "and get them back together." This was where I was genuinely hesitant. "But Ms. Moss already has a boyfriend." Mr. Moss tapped the table, lost in thought. "Do you think that boyfriend of hers is real? Something feels weird." I stood at the entrance of the restaurant, tilting my head as I watched Monica and Liam sitting at a booth. "What?" Nathan asked, turning to me in confusion. It was a team dinner for the two companies involved in the project, and I had booked out this well-reviewed sushi place. Everything seemed normal at first. Monica and Liam still looked very close. Two stunningly attractive people, even just looking at a menu together, made for a beautiful picture. But then I remembered Mr. Moss's question from the tea room a few days ago. I asked Nathan, "How do you feel about the distance between us right now?" Nathan was clueless. "What?" "Nothing." I took a small step away from him. "How about now?" "Still nothing." "But why are you moving so far away?" I didn't answer him, just watched Monica and Liam thoughtfully, silently estimating the distance between them. It really is a bit strange. "Nathan, what's strange?" Just then, some of the other colleagues from the restaurant saw us. One of our well-known office social butterflies yelled out, "You're late." "Mr. Reed, Helen, time for penalty shots." I smiled and raised my voice. "You're on." Leaving Nathan with a "I'm not telling you," I walked ahead toward the table where Monica and Liam were sitting. "Ms. Moss, Liam. Good evening." I sat down across from them and, pretending to have just noticed, cautiously tested the waters. "Did you two have a fight?" Monica and Liam looked up, both with the same blank expression. "Huh?" Liam, who had always been so smooth and composed, couldn't help but look a little confused. "Why do you ask?" I gestured to the space between them. Because you're sitting a little far apart. I smiled knowingly. If I didn't know you two were in your honeymoon phase, I would have thought you were just friends. If I hadn't been watching closely, I would have missed the fleeting look of shock that crossed their faces. Monica subconsciously turned to look at Liam. As expected of the man everyone praised for his emotional intelligence, Liam was quick on his feet. You really don't miss a thing, do you, Helen? He recovered quickly, explaining, it's true, I messed up a little these past couple of days and made her angry. He smiled dotingly, his acting completely natural. She's a little shy and didn't want everyone to know. I didn't expect you to catch on. I nodded knowingly. Ah, I see. Nathan, who had just sat down, remained silent. Monica's smile was gone now too. The colleagues from both companies were mingling and chatting animatedly at the surrounding tables, but the atmosphere at ours was about to hit freezing point. But, that's okay. I'll be the one to light a fire under these two stone-faced statues. I extended an invitation to Monica. Ms. Moss, the fish here is flown in daily, and the chef is fantastic. You can order whatever you like and have him make it right here. Want to go take a look? Monica hesitated for a moment before agreeing. Sure. I stood up and smiled at Nathan and Liam. We'll leave the rest of the ordering to you two. Remember to get our favorites. I turned and linked my arm with Monica's. Let's leave them to it. Come on. I'd noticed it during our previous meetings. Monica was the introverted, slow to warm up type around people she didn't know well. Sometimes, you could even say she was a bit awkward. She only relaxed around people she was familiar with. That's why, at first, everyone thought she was a cold, unapproachable, and demanding boss. It was only after working with her for a while that they realized, although she was as strict about work as Nathan, she was just a socially awkward person who seemed cold because she didn't know how to interact with strangers. Though she had a few strong emotional reactions to Nathan, they were directed only at him. With everyone else, even me, who wore the title of Nathan's girlfriend, she always maintained a polite distance and never took her anger out on me. Sigh. I have to admit, I really like her personality. When you get close to her, she clearly wants to step back, but she's afraid of hurting your feelings. So she'd rather endure the discomfort and just stand there rigidly beside you. I secretly smiled to myself. Sorry, not sorry. People with this personality are my favorite to bully. Nathan told me you don't like any raw fish other than salmon. Monica looked a little surprised that Nathan would tell me that. That's right. After a moment of hesitation, she spoke again. I didn't know he would tell you that. Please don't take it the wrong way. We have no other connection besides work now. She was explaining herself to me. She's so nice. Of course, a real girlfriend might be bothered that her boyfriend still remembers his ex's preferences. But I'm not a real girlfriend. So I winked at her. It's okay. I trust him, and I trust you. Besides, understanding our partner's dietary habits and restrictions is part of my job as his assistant. I put on a love-struck act and smiled shyly. I know he's just being considerate and trying to reduce my workload. Monica probably didn't expect me to be so head over heels. She nodded hesitantly in agreement. Right. I changed the subject. The shellfish looks really good today, too. By the way, the brunch at that place near your company is delicious. Nathan said you two used to go there all the time in college. I had actually asked him about it specifically. The signature sandwich at that place on XX Street is amazing, too. Nathan and I often get up early on weekends to buy it. Did you know that sandwich is so popular it often sells out by 9, an hour after they open? I covered my mouth shyly. Oh, I forgot, you must know. Nathan said you used to love the sandwiches from there too. The memories you shared with him are now his present with someone else. Do you care? Speaking of which, Nathan's cooking is actually really good. He said he didn't used to cook much, but I love his food, so he has to cook for me often now. Something that was once exclusively yours has now become someone else's everyday reality. Does it hurt? Oh, and Ms. Moss, do you like dogs? Nathan loves them and was thinking of getting one. But I'm kind of scared of dogs and just can't get used to them, so he had to give up the idea. He said when you two were together, you even came up with names for the imaginary dog you'd get. I guess that name can only be used on the dog you and Liam get now. The past that once warmed you, that you cherished, is now just a casual topic of conversation between him and someone else. Is it becoming unbearable? When Monica and I returned to our seats, Nathan glanced at us, opened his mouth to ask something, then closed it again. Only Liam voiced his concern. What's wrong? He asked Monica, while also glancing at me. I raised an eyebrow discreetly. I thought my recent barrage had no effect, since Monica still looked as cool and distant as ever. Looks like it wasn't that it had no effect, but that only someone closer to her could tell. Monica shook her head gently. It's nothing. I chimed in, we took the chance to chat a bit. Ms. Moss is so nice. I leaned toward her. Ms. Moss, we should get afternoon tea together sometime, just the two of us. Monica opened her mouth to speak. Seeing this, Liam stepped in with a smile. Oh, you can't do that. Ms. Moss is already a workaholic as it is and barely has any time for me. If you take up her weekends too, wouldn't I be pitiful? I nodded teasingly. Ah, well, maybe you can bribe me? I pulled Nathan's hand over to look at the menu. Let me see. What did you guys order? Nathan let me move his hand without any resistance. Liam also pushed the menu toward Monica. He thoughtfully introduced the dishes to her. The waiter just said the bluefin tuna is excellent today. I ordered a few pieces for you to try. Oh. Nathan and I looked up at the same time. Nathan tried to hold it in, but he couldn't. He frowned. She doesn't eat tuna. I also feigned surprise. Huh. But didn't Ms. Moss just say she doesn't like any raw fish besides salmon? Liam's eyes widened slightly. Huh. Gotcha. Nice catch. I praised myself silently. Monica caught on and explained, I didn't used to like it, but Liam does, so I've been slowly trying it recently. Oh, I see, I said with an air of understanding. For a second there, I almost thought that as her boyfriend, Liam didn't know what Ms. Moss dislikes. I placed my other hand on top of Nathan's, smiling brightly. If that were the case, that would be a real dereliction of duty. You can't be worse than her ex-boyfriend, our Nathan, right? Monica's gaze fell on my hand intertwined with Nathan's. She was silent for a few seconds, then smiled softly. He knows. She looked up, her eyes fixed on a point in the distance. I'm just trying to change a little for the person I love. Just like you, Nathan Reed, changed for someone else. Near the end of the meal, I went to the restroom to touch up my makeup. When I came out, I ran into someone who shouldn't have been there. I tilted my head at him. This is the entrance to the women's restroom, you know. Are you lost? He stood there as if we were in a chic cafe, not outside the women's restroom. Liam crossed his arms, a smile on his lips. No, I'm not lost. I came to find you. I copied his posture, crossing my arms and raising an eyebrow. I'm all ears. He leaned forward slightly, looking directly into my eyes. Is it fun, bullying her? I feigned ignorance. Who did I bully? His lips were still smiling, but a hint of coldness crept into his eyes. It's just the two of us here. You can drop the act. I uncrossed my arms and looked at him with amusement. First, to answer your question. My lips curled into a smile. It is fun. More fun than I imagined. Now I have a question for you. I lifted my chin provocatively. Are you here as her boyfriend, or as her friend? He understood the emphasis I put on the words, and his expression flickered. I don't know what you're talking about. I smiled and walked past him. Whether you really don't know or are just pretending not to, only you know the answer to that. When I got back to the table, most of the other colleagues had left. Only Nathan and Monica remained, sitting silently on opposite sides of the table. No eye contact. Like two rocks. I was a little annoyed. I called out to Nathan. Nathan. He looked up. I put on a smile again. We all had a little to drink. Why don't you drive Ms. Moss and Liam home? Huh? Liam, who had returned a step after me, and Monica, who had just stood up, asked in unison. Nathan's reaction wasn't as big, but a giant question mark appeared in his eyes. What are you plotting now? Monica tried to refuse. We can just call a driver. She avoided Nathan's gaze. No need to trouble you. Oh, it's no trouble at all. I reached out, pulled Nathan to his feet, and patted his shoulder. I'm leaving them in your hands. Make sure you get Ms. Moss and Liam home safely. Nathan wanted to refuse too. I just stared at him with a smile plastered on my face. He caved. He picked up his keys and suit jacket. Fine. He paused for a second, then, without using her name, said, let's go. Monica was still trying to resist, but I put a hand on her shoulder and gave her a gentle push. Don't refuse. It's getting late. You should go home and rest. Liam gave me a deep look, his eyes lingering for a moment. Then he put on his smile again and took Monica's hand. Well then, we'll graciously accept. Thank you for the trouble, Mr. Reed. 10 minutes later. After chatting with the chef, I was about to call a car and leave. But the restaurant door opened again. I looked up in surprise to see the person I thought had long since left standing in the doorway. Didn't you leave? Liam was slightly out of breath as he walked up to me. For you. He handed me a box of pills and pointed to a small, almost invisible red dot on my arm. Why didn't you say you were having an allergic reaction? It had been a long time since I'd been at such a loss for words. My thoughts were a tangled mess. I took the pill box. Thanks. He caught his breath, and at my words, he raised an eyebrow. You're welcome. But I have to ask, your own boyfriend's attention is entirely on someone else, so much so that he didn't even notice your allergy. He stared at me searchingly. Aren't you hurt? He watched my expression closely. After a moment, he came to a conclusion. Looks like you're not. If you're not even hurt by that, then why are you targeting Monica so much? I composed myself and fired back, and what about you? You're just going to let your girlfriend be driven home by her ex-boyfriend? He retorted, of course. I trust both Monica's and Mr. Reed's character. I snorted. Oh, really? He stared at me. I stared back at him. After a long moment, we both burst out laughing. Okay, a smile he couldn't suppress spread across his lips. I won't ask you, and you don't ask me. A gentleman's agreement, we don't interfere with each other. How about it? He held out his pinky. The sly fox before me had a charming twinkle in his eyes. I admit, for a second, I was mesmerized. Our pinkies linked. You know you're truly speechless when you just have to laugh. Liam was experiencing that feeling right now. What did you just say? I kept my feet moving with the music. I said, didn't we have a gentleman's agreement not to interfere with each other? The project had reached a milestone, and with the end of the year approaching, we decided to combine the two companies' annual parties into one big celebration. My idea, of course. As for a certain someone, I have no idea what happened when he drove Monica home alone last time. She's not mad at him anymore, but now she just gives him the cold shoulder all day, like she's trying to freeze him to death. And him? He pretends not to care, but in reality, he's basically become a piece of fresh produce that needs to be kept on ice 24/7. The light from the crystal chandelier dappled the carpet. People all around were laughing and dancing. Thanks to the sudden partner swap I initiated, and because the two normally stone-faced bosses led the charge, the ballroom's atmosphere was even more electric. My new dance partner, Liam, was so mad he laughed. So what you mean is, you can pull your little tricks behind the scenes, and I can't ask questions or interfere? He guided me through a turn, a smile that didn't reach his eyes on his face. Is that our gentleman's agreement? Of course, I knew what he originally meant. I wouldn't ask him why he was pretending to be Monica's boyfriend when he wasn't, and he wouldn't ask me why I was pretending to be Nathan's girlfriend when I wasn't. On top of that, we wouldn't expose each other or trip each other up. But I wasn't violating any of that right now. I put on an innocent face. I'm not pulling any tricks. This is just a normal, common partner swap. Oh, he stepped forward. Then why did you just happen to announce the swap at the exact moment our two couples passed each other? I stepped back. Maybe to have Mr. Reed and Ms. Moss set an example and get everyone excited. He smirked and gestured toward Nathan and Monica not far away. Everyone else is excited, but those two don't look very happy. Nathan and Monica were talking about something. Monica had her head turned slightly, clearly avoiding eye contact with him. As for Nathan, while he was maintaining a calm facade in front of both companies' employees, the speed at which his lips were moving made it clear he was far more agitated than he appeared. Well, why don't we listen in and see how they're really feeling? I took out a Bluetooth earbud and held it out to Liam. Liam looked at the earbud in my palm, then at me. For a split second, I thought he was going to move his hand from my waist to my shoulders and shake me violently. You're actually using a listening device? He took it, a look of exasperated amusement on his face. Is all this really necessary? I tilted my head up proudly. It's my motto to take everything seriously. Especially when it comes to Nathan and Monica. The moment I figured out Liam wasn't her real boyfriend, I made a decision. I will not rest until I get these two stubborn people back together. Nathan's voice came through the earpiece. Just from his tone, I could picture his stone-cold expression. Why haven't you broken up with him yet? Monica refused to look at him. Why should I? Nathan's chest heaved as he struggled to control his emotions. A man who can't even remember what you like and dislike, do you really think he cares about you? He doesn't deserve you. Monica frowned and turned her head. Whether he deserves me or not isn't for you to decide. I already told you, I'm trying new things. It's not that he doesn't remember. Before she could finish, Nathan cut her off, unable to bear it any longer. You can fool others, but you can't fool me. You say you're trying it, but you didn't even take one bite when it was served. His eyes were filled with a pained confusion. Covering for him, sharing all our favorite places with him, do you love him that much? So much that you'll stay with him even when his carelessness is so obvious? If he really cared about you, how could he be okay with me driving you home alone? No man who's truly invested in a relationship would tolerate that. Why? What is it about him? What do you like so much? His voice was strained, almost pleading. Can't it be me? What does he have that I don't? Whatever you want, I can do it. Monica finally looked up and met his eyes. She spoke softly. Am I the only one sharing our memories with someone else? Her gaze was calm, but there was something else churning beneath the surface. Like the tide crashing against the shore after nightfall. Whatever you can do, you should save it for someone else. It must be hard, trying to be good to two women at once, isn't it? Nathan froze for a second, then tried to explain. Actually, Helen isn't. Oh, crap. This is not the time to reveal that. I instinctively started to pull Liam toward them. Just then, the music stopped, and a voice came from the stage. Ahem, testing, dear colleagues. Everyone looked up to see Heather from the events department on stage with a microphone. How did everyone enjoy the partner swap? The crowd roared in appreciation. It was awesome. So fun. Another colleague yelled, let's do it again. The whole room burst into laughter. Heather laughed too. Let's not do it again. Next up, we have an even more exciting and fun activity. She paused deliberately for 2 seconds, satisfied when everyone quieted down and looked at her expectantly. The compatibility quiz. I had a bad feeling about this. Because as far as I knew, Heather was a die-hard shipper of me and Nathan. And her biggest recent annoyance was that as the project progressed and Nathan and Monica's interactions increased, a faction of co-workers who shipped them had emerged. In her words, she suddenly had a lot of rival shippers. Heather waved her hand, and a colleague on standby brought up 2 tablets. Next, let's welcome our contestants, she drew out the words, then suddenly pointed at the 4 of us, Ms. Moss, Mr. Reed, Liam, and Helen. Let the battle of the companies begin. Epic, dramatic music started playing as everyone else cheered and applauded. In the midst of the fervent atmosphere, Liam leaned close to my ear. Is this another one of your arrangements? I stood there stunned, my brain short-circuiting for once. No. I blinked. I didn't plan this. My phone buzzed with a notification. I pulled it out. It was a message from Heather. Surprise. Quick, get on stage. Let all those tasteless co-workers who ship Monica and Nathan see the truth. You and Nathan are the real OTP. They need to stop shipping every random pairing. She attached a hissing cat emoji. I'm going to show everyone that my ship is number 1. You and Nathan are the perfect, super compatible golden couple. Unfortunately for her, I let her down. In reality, Nathan and I were a pair of clueless friends with negative compatibility. It started out okay. What's her most hated vegetable? None. She likes them all. Is he a durian lover or a staunch hater? Durian lover. The former. Does he prefer cloudy days without sun, or bright, sunny days? Sunny. Sunny. What does she do when she's in a bad mood? Goes for a rage walk. Walks it off. After that, it all went downhill. What's the first thing he does when he wakes up in the morning? How should I know? I've never lived with him. I took a wild guess. Check his phone. Works out. What color were her clothes the first time you met? Who remembers something from over 20 years ago? Another guess. Blue? Yellow? Where was your first date? We've never been on a date, let alone had a first one. I threw out a classic location. An amusement park. A ski resort. What's his must-do activity before bed? Oh my God, I have even less of a clue about this. I gave up. Closes his eyes. Drinks a glass of warm water. Meanwhile, Monica and Liam weren't faring much better. What's the first thing he does when he wakes up in the morning? Drinks water. Makes breakfast. What color were her clothes the first time you met? Brown. Purple. Where was your first date? The aquarium. The movies. What's his must-do activity before bed? Has a nightcap. Reads a book. The colleagues in the audience had never seen us so flustered and awkward. Every mismatched answer sent them into fits of laughter. In stark contrast, Heather was devastated. She looked like she couldn't believe her favorite ship had such terrible chemistry and was doing so poorly. Her face grew darker and darker. Heather sidled up to me, her words seething between clenched teeth. Such great chemistry. Right? I don't know if anyone would dare to contradict a rabid fan who just discovered her OTP has 0 compatibility. I certainly didn't. All I could do was laugh nervously, trying to distract her and make her forget what just happened. But then her train of thought shifted, and she let out a wicked cackle. Since you all did so terribly, let's switch partners. She stroked her chin, a sinister smile on her face. Compatibility is relative. If I show them that Monica and Nathan are even worse, they'll stop shipping them. But as it turned out, she was disappointed again. If my performance with Nathan, and Monica's with Liam, was a complete disaster, then Nathan and Monica's was the polar opposite, a perfect display of speed and accuracy. What is she most afraid of? Mollusks. What are her milk tea habits? Light sugar, no ice. What's a daily habit she must complete? Stretches before bed. From personal preferences to intimate daily habits that only someone very close would know, their answers matched perfectly for every question. Then there was me and Liam. Cat person or dog person? Cat person. Do you agree that love at first sight is just another way of saying lust at first sight? Agree. If your partner breaks up with you, would you accept it or try to win them back? Accept it. Heather's expression went from damn it, why are they so compatible? And oh no, I just gave the rival ship more material, to a full-blown existential crisis of was I shipping the wrong couple all along? And wait, this other pairing is actually kind of cute. The audience erupted in gasps of surprise, the atmosphere growing even more heated. Nathan and Monica's sync rate was so high that eventually, people in the crowd started shouting out their own questions. Amid the fiery atmosphere, Liam and I quietly sidled closer to each other and started whispering behind our tablets. Well, the exes are definitely doing better than us fakes. I let out a small huff of laughter. And friends will be friends. Friends can't be lovers. We stood to the side, arms crossed, calmly watching Monica and Nathan continue to answer the bonus questions from the audience. I nudged Liam with my elbow. So, you in? Want to team up and cause some trouble with me? He shook his head regretfully. I'm sorry, but I have my own integrity as a friend. Monica's wishes are my wishes. However, he extended his hand in an inviting gesture and winked at me. If anything interesting happens, feel free to let me know. I scoffed and placed my hand on top of his. Our hands touched for a brief moment before parting. No problem. It's a deal. What are you doing? Why are you smiling so mischievously? Nathan gave me a weird look. I pulled my attention away from my phone, looked up, and slapped him on the shoulder. You better watch your mouth. You're the one who said you wanted to learn how to cook. Today, I'm your teacher. So, boss, I'd appreciate a little more respect. I wasn't about to tell him I was scrolling through a Nathan Monica's Sweetest Moments compilation in the anonymous company group chat. Nathan winced. Teacher, please refrain from using violence against your boss. He rubbed his shoulder. What else do we need to buy? I pointed to the refrigerated section ahead. You said Monica likes spicy food and beef, right? Well, today, your teacher is going to teach you how to make spicy beef ribs. I patted his back. Go on. Your teacher will wait for you here. He rolled his eyes and pushed the shopping cart away. After Nathan left, I dove back into my phone, surfing the ocean of gossip. Just as I was trying to stifle a laugh and silently warning myself not to look like an idiot in public. Helen. The other main character of the gossip appeared before me. Startled and feeling guilty, I instinctively locked my screen. Monica. What a coincidence, I said with a friendliness that even I could tell was a bit too eager. Monica nodded and asked politely, Are you shopping alone, Helen? Oh, no. I'm actually here with your ex-boyfriend. He heard Liam is a great cook and couldn't stop imagining you praising Liam for making you dinner. He got competitive and decided he had to learn to cook too, so he could cook for you. Just as I was about to answer. Got it. Let's go. Nathan returned with the cart. An awkward silence descended. From the moment Nathan and Monica saw each other, no one had spoken a word. If real life were a TV show, this would be the moment for some sentimental background music to swell as the two of them stared at each other in silence. Complete with a slow motion, spinning camera shot. But unfortunately, this wasn't a TV show. There was no slow-mo, no sappy music, only me, the quick-witted and brave teacher Helen. They could be mistaken for idiots by passers-by, but I couldn't. To break the stalemate of three people standing around like morons, I extended an invitation to Monica. Monica, would you like to come over to Nathan's for dinner? I'm cooking. Monica froze, her immediate instinct to refuse. No, I couldn't. You two are a couple. I wouldn't want to impose. I blinked and smiled as I waved at the person walking up behind her. What's the big deal? You two are a couple, too. A double date, right? Liam came to stand beside Monica, chiming in with a smile. Monica looked surprised. Liam, what are you doing here? Liam tilted his head toward me. Helen told me she and Nathan ran into you here. I was in the neighborhood, so she asked if I wanted to come along for dinner. All four of us. He smiled, seeking Monica's opinion. Since Nathan and Helen were so kind to invite us, why don't we go? Nathan, who had been silent the whole time, couldn't hold it in any longer. I didn't. You don't get a say in this. I jabbed my elbow into his side and turned back to Monica with a smile. Come on, Monica. I swear you won't be disappointed by my cooking. Faced with a smiling me, a smiling Liam, and a scowling but no longer protesting Nathan, Monica hesitated for a moment before finally giving in. Well then, thank you for having us. Stop scowling. Nathan kept his face set in a grim mask all the way to the car, trying to guilt-trip me with his dark mood. I tried to reason with him sweetly. Think about it. Monica is coming to your house. Aren't you happy? Excited? Thrilled? You had this apartment designed before you broke up, right? But you split before it was even finished. She's never seen it. Now she's coming over. Your apartment and all your furniture are about to meet their rightful mistress. It's a happy occasion. He was still scowling. But my apartment and furniture definitely don't want to see Liam. I had to bring him back to reality. Right. You and your apartment and your furniture don't want to see Liam. But without Liam, would Monica have agreed to come over? I rolled my eyes impatiently. All right, that's enough with the theatrics. You should be thinking about what you're going to say to Monica. I warned him, when we're cooking later, I'm dragging Liam into the kitchen with me, so it'll just be you and Monica out there. You better think carefully and speak properly. Don't go and make her mad again. Suddenly, Nathan realized something was off. Wait a minute. What did Liam just call you? If he weren't driving, I'm pretty sure his gaze would have killed me. Did I hear that right? He asked through clenched teeth. Helen? He called you Helen? In that moment, I could almost see angry laser beams shooting from his eyes. I was a little scared of being incinerated by those laser beams. And I could understand why. From his perspective, this was practically an act of colluding with the enemy. But I didn't want to tell him yet that Liam was just faking being Monica's boyfriend. So I had to rack my brain for an excuse. I'm just trying to get closer to the enemy to gather intel. Look, if I hadn't called him over today, would Monica have agreed to come to your place for dinner? The more I talked, the more it made sense. I got more and more fired up, almost convincing myself. I nearly forgot that the real reason Liam and I became friends was that after we confirmed we were both fakes, we couldn't resist the mutual, loves-to-watch drama unfold energy we both gave off. And besides, once we're close, I can get information out of him. Like how Monica's been feeling lately, what she's been craving, if anything's bothering her. We have to make full use of the enemy, understand the enemy, so we can better decide our next move in this battle. To prove I wasn't just making things up. Or rather, to cover up the fact that I was just making things up. The moment we walked in the door, I grabbed Liam and pulled him into the kitchen. I hear you're a great cook. Perfect. Come and help me. I turned to Nathan and Monica, who were standing awkwardly at the entrance, and spoke like a parent telling their child to be a good host. Nathan, you're in charge of entertaining Monica. Don't just stand there. Show her around. I emphasized my point with a meaningful look. Take good care of her. Liam watched as I slammed the kitchen door shut. Having gotten to know me, he tapped my shoulder. What is it this time? Another listening device? I wagged my finger. No. We have a new friend with us today. I opened my phone, pulled up an app, and selected the living room camera. Thank goodness for my quick thinking. I'd remembered the security cameras in the car and asked Nathan for the password. Tossing the connected earbud to Liam, I declared with a hint of pride, "You really can't do this without Teacher Helen, can you?" Nathan led Monica to the living room. "If you're bored, there are game cartridges here." He pulled open a drawer in the cabinet next to the sofa, then turned to get drinks from the dining area. But Monica's gaze was fixed on two stuffed dog toys on the TV stand. One was a smiling white Samoyed, and the other was a goofy-looking Shiba Inu. She couldn't help but walk over and crouch down in front of them. "You still have them?" Nathan came to her side. Hearing her words, he gave a slight, sad smile. "Couldn't just abandon them, could I?" He looked at the two stuffed dogs. "We said we'd get two real dogs just like them. Even if we didn't, I couldn't just throw them away." Monica didn't say anything else. After a long silence, she gently tapped the Samoyed's nose. "Marshmallow, long time no see." Then she touched the Shiba Inu's head. "Bear, long time no see." The first time I came to Nathan's apartment, I noticed those two cute, goofy-looking stuffed dogs. I was a little surprised at the time. "You buy stuffed animals like this?" He was silent for a moment, then said flatly, "My ex-girlfriend bought them. She likes Samoyeds, and I like Shiba Inus. We had a plan to get two dogs, one of each." He reached out and flicked the Samoyed's little ear. "She said before we got them for real, we should put two stuffed ones in the house to bond with them." A bitter, self-deprecating smile appeared on his face. "I bonded with them, all right. But then their mistress decided she didn't want any of us and just left." After the breakup, for 5 years, Nathan had no news of Monica. For 5 years, he treated those stuffed animals like real pets. Just as they had joked about when they were deeply in love, he would talk to Marshmallow and Bear, give them baths, and brush their fur. Sometimes, he'd see cute dog clothes or accessories online. He'd buy them because he felt that if Monica were there, she would have bought them for the dogs. He probably never imagined that, years later, he'd have the chance to see Monica step into this apartment that was supposed to be their home together. A chance for Marshmallow and Bear to see Monica again. "Careful." Nathan quickly steadied Monica as she tried to stand up but lost her balance from crouching for too long. Once she was steady, he let go and handed her the cup he was holding in his other hand. "Here, brown sugar water." Monica stared blankly at the steam spiraling up from the cup. Nathan thought she didn't want to drink it and frowned. "You're on your period, right? You can't have anything cold." Seeing her silence, he softened his tone. "If you drink something cold, you'll feel awful later. You don't want to go through that, do you?" Monica was quiet for a moment before taking the cup. A satisfied smile quietly appeared in Nathan's eyes. But it froze just as quickly. Because she said, "Actually, I don't get cramps anymore." Your concern is now useless to her. When Liam and I came out with the food, Monica and Nathan were sitting silently at opposite ends of the sofa. The air was thick with a gloomy, oppressive tension, like the calm before a storm. I couldn't stand it. "Nathan, go get the rest of the dishes. Stop moping around like some dark, emo teenager. Do you think you're still 18, where staring melancholically at the sky at a 45-degree angle is acceptable?" I couldn't be bothered to maintain my gentle, kind, and patient good girlfriend image in front of Monica anymore. Because right now, I really wanted to headbutt Nathan. Why the long face? Is that going to help? The moment Nathan stepped into the kitchen, I started lecturing him like a disappointed parent. It's been 5 years. It's normal for her life and habits to have changed. You have to accept that. I hit him with another dose of reality. You're a man. In a relationship, men have to learn to fight for what they want. What's the point of just feeling sad? I made him look at Liam, who was chatting and laughing with Monica. Look at him, then look at you. He's the perfect example of a charming, soft boy player, thoughtful, witty, and he even knows how to use a little jealousy to spice things up. And you? The cold, stoic type who can't express his feelings is out of style. If you love her, you have to make her feel it. Your advantage is that you and Monica have a history, but your disadvantage is that you missed 5 years of her life. You can't make up for those 5 years. So you have to focus on the present. Make Monica feel that you still love her now, and that no matter how much she's changed, you'll still love her. Dinner's ready. Nathan and I came out of the kitchen one after the other. Monica stood up to help take the dishes, but I dodged her. It's okay, you can sit. You don't have to be so formal. This is the menu Nathan gave me. It should all be dishes you like. Give them a try. I teased Liam with a smile. Liam, you're not doing so well. You didn't know a thing about her tastes. Monica looked like she wanted to say something but held back. I think she was starting to notice that something was off about my relationship with Nathan. I had actually left a lot of clues. But back then, she was blinded by her emotions and didn't notice. Now, though, the inconsistencies were piling up, probably too big for her to ignore anymore. After all, very few women would be able to smile when they find out their boyfriend still remembers his ex-girlfriend's favorite foods. Let alone have him tell his current girlfriend what his ex likes so she can cook it for her. I felt like the time was right. It was time to clear up the misunderstanding. I dropped the bomb casually. By the way, I never got around to saying this clearly. I'm not actually Nathan's girlfriend. Nathan and Monica's eyes went wide in unison. 1, because he never expected me to tell the truth at this moment. Why are you bringing this up now? Nathan yanked me aside and hissed. His reaction snapped Monica out of her shock. She realized, so. All of this was a lie. You were just pretending to be his girlfriend? The other, because she couldn't believe that all her secret turmoil had been based on a lie. I pressed my palms together. Yes, but please don't be mad at me. Nathan bribed me with a bonus, so I agreed to fake it. From the moment I realized Monica was still in love with Nathan, I knew she would be angry when the truth came out. For Monica, the fact that he had a new girlfriend made all his attempts to win her back seem despicable. But when she was with him, she couldn't help but waver, couldn't help but soften, couldn't help but feel her heart flutter again. And so, this woman who took relationships seriously began to blame herself. He has a new girlfriend. How can you be swayed by just a few words from him? It's not fair to yourself, and it's not fair to that other girl. But logic can't control feelings. No matter how much she blamed herself, no matter how much she suppressed her emotions, her love for him kept bubbling up from her heart and spilling out through her eyes. So she had to blame herself even more forcefully, and try even harder to hold back her feelings. And now, she finds out. The girl she thought was his new girlfriend, the girl she tried so hard not to hurt, was just faking it. All the self-recrimination and torment of the past few weeks had become a joke. For a moment, Monica didn't know how to react. She wanted to be angry, but seeing her hesitation, I started batting my eyes, playing the pity card. Monica couldn't bear it and looked away, her accusatory gaze shifting to Nathan. Nathan hadn't expected me to pass the buck so quickly. He wanted to explain, but he realized that everything I'd said was technically the truth. There was no room for him to argue. What could he explain? That he was still clinging to the foolish hope of saving face in front of the ex who dumped him? That he was being stubbornly competitive after discovering she had a new boyfriend? That he was still in love, still couldn't let go, but had misjudged himself, thinking he could fake being over her? He couldn't say it. There were no words. Like a rain-soaked puppy, his tail drooped. I was getting tired of watching Liam leisurely eat and enjoy the show from the sidelines. Might as well get everything out in the open today. With lightning speed, I raised Liam's hand. And Liam is just a friend, not her boyfriend. He'd been deceived, and he should have been angry. But a smile started to creep across his face all on its own. Later, I got a message from Liam. How are things on your end? I replied, he's back to full strength now that he knows you're not Monica's real boyfriend. He's dragging me into planning his next moves. I sent him a picture of the projection on the wall. A single, bold title was displayed on the screen. Nathan Reed's plan to win back Monica Moss. Nathan began his campaign. First, learning to cook. Though the initial impulse came from hearing about Liam's culinary skills and a surge of male rivalry, he now saw it differently. What could be more fulfilling than cooking for the one you love? That's what he said, anyway. My assessment, model husband material, 10/10. Keep it up. Next was winning hearts and minds. He bribed Monica's colleagues with afternoon tea, delivered promptly at 3 p.m. every day. Milk tea, pastries, desserts, snacks, a new variety every day. Of course, Monica's portion was always the most special and thoughtful. She didn't like things too sweet, so there was always one order with a special request for reduced sugar. She liked pretty, cute desserts, so there was always one that Nathan had personally selected for being both beautiful and delicious. Finally, there was the punctual chauffeur service to and from work. Though Monica didn't always let him drive her. Nathan's pursuit of Monica became the talk of the town. So much so that our company's anonymous shipping group for the two of them started getting new members from Monica's company. When they weren't working, everyone was in the group chat, shipping them with a passion. Shipping them hard, shipping them with abandon. After the meeting that day, Monica and Liam were about to leave. I decided to call it a day too, leaving Nathan to keep working in his office. Without the slightly thicker-skinned Nathan around, my teasing left Monica blushing. It was all going well until the elevator unexpectedly stopped. The person who appeared at the door made me frown deeply. And she was just as startled to see me. My tone was stern. Linda, how many times have I told you? Don't try to be special. All the other employees use the staff elevators. Why are you always taking the executive one? How many times have I caught you now? Linda stammered, I'm sorry, Helen. She was always quick to apologize but would do the same thing again next time. I sighed heavily. And another thing, haven't you been late or leaving early a lot recently? I'm not asking you to achieve great things, but you have to at least follow the company rules, right? She bit her lip and said nothing. There was nothing more for me to say. Go on. And don't let me hear any more complaints about you. She scurried away with her head down, and I pressed the closed door button. Was that woman also an employee at your company? After a brief silence, Monica spoke. Was it my imagination? The atmosphere felt completely different from a few minutes ago. Yeah, Linda has been with our company for several years. I sounded a little helpless. But like I just said, she's a bit lazy and always tries to get special treatment. Liam asked curiously, you still tolerate her even though she works like that? Does she have connections? I applauded his astuteness twice. Well, you could say she's like a little sister to me and Nathan. Her mom is Nathan's mom's makeup artist and has known her for decades. Linda used to hang out with us a lot when we were kids. Even though Linda isn't very capable and loves to show off and bend the rules, Mrs. Reed has a soft spot for her. She'll say something like, the company isn't short on capable employees. Let's just let Linda slack off and have a stable job. Liam sighed along with me. I get it, I get it. Noticing Monica had been silent since her question, I tilted my head to look at her. Monica, what's wrong? Yes, since I clarified that I wasn't Nathan's girlfriend, I had earned the privilege of calling her by her first name. Monica pulled herself out of her thoughts and gave me a faint smile. It's nothing. Was it really nothing? Then why isn't she answering my calls or reading my messages? The frog on a hot plate was back. Nathan yanked off his tie, on the verge of a complete meltdown. I go to pick her up, but she ignores me. She even leaves the office early just to avoid me. Everything was fine before, so why the sudden change? He collapsed onto the sofa in despair, running his hands through his hair. Is it going to be like last time? Is she just going to leave me again? As someone who had also been blocked, I was carefully replaying the events leading up to my last conversation with Monica. The more I thought about it, the more I felt the problem had to be from those few minutes in the elevator when we saw Linda. Did you and Linda have any other interactions during the years you were dating Monica? Nathan's brows were tightly furrowed as he looked up in confusion. Who? Linda? He tried hard to remember. The only other time was when her live-in boyfriend was abusing her, and my mom asked me to help deal with it. Nothing else. I know about that, I sneered. Her pathetic American boyfriend who pretended to be a rich heir to trick her, and then had the nerve to threaten her not to call the police. But still. I propped my chin on my hand, deep in thought. That doesn't seem connected. The current evidence wasn't leading anywhere. We needed more clues. Think harder. I pressed him. That incident where you helped her, how did it connect to Monica, or what kind of impact did it have on her? He shook his head again. Helping Linda was just something I did on the way. It had nothing to do with Monica. Besides, I never told her about it, so she shouldn't even know. A moment later, he suddenly remembered something else. I remember now. The main reason for the trip was to handle a cross-border merger and acquisition case. It was urgent. I was supposed to celebrate Monica's birthday with her, but I had to go deal with that case instead. I only came back and celebrated with her after handling both the MA case and Linda's situation. He looked at me as if seeking confirmation. But I told Monica clearly before I left that I was going to handle a case. Okay, let's try another angle. I waved my hand. 5 years ago, before you and Monica broke up, what was the very last thing that happened? The last thing? Without any hesitation, Nathan launched into a long string of words. Monica suddenly showed up at my apartment. I thought she missed me, but she left after just a short while. After she went home, she called and broke up with me. It was clear. For the past 5 years, he had been replaying every single detail of that moment, trying to find some hint of abnormality in what he thought was an ordinary day, trying to find a reason for her breaking up with him. She showed up suddenly. Why suddenly? She left after a short while? Why so soon? I had no patience for this lovesick fool. You're skipping parts. Think carefully. 2 minutes later. His head snapped up in realization. Linda was at my place. This must be it. The key point. I snapped my fingers. Tell me. Why was Linda at your place, and what did she say and do? I pulled up a chair and sat down. Tell me everything, in detail. She came to thank me. She didn't say much. Then Monica showed up. Nathan added, she explained to Monica that she was there to thank me, and Monica didn't say anything at the time. Thank you for what? I raised an eyebrow. For helping her with her abusive ex-boyfriend? Your mom was the one who asked you to help. Shouldn't she have gone with her mother to your family's main house to thank you both? What was she doing showing up at your door alone, a man and a woman? I looked at him searchingly. You helped her with something else, didn't you? Something the adults don't know about? He averted his gaze and didn't answer. Seeing this, I let out 2 cold laughs. There's something, but you can't say it, right? He was silent for a moment before explaining, I did promise Linda. It's her personal privacy. Privacy? I pushed off with my foot, spinning around in the chair. Fine. I'll guess myself. She secretly married that pathetic ex-boyfriend? No reaction. Not that. She was pregnant, needed an abortion, and begged you to hide it from her family? His eyelashes fluttered. Whoa. Guessed it that quickly? I stared at Nathan's trembling eyelashes. She begged you to keep it from her family, and also begged you to go with her to the procedure? His eyelashes trembled even more violently. My anger, which had been simmering, suddenly boiled over. I grabbed a folder, a pen, anything I could find on his desk, and started throwing it at him. Are you an idiot? You helped her hide it from her family, and you even went with her to the abortion clinic? Have you ever stopped to think about what Monica would think if she found out? He dodged left and right, trying to avoid the weapons I was hurling at him. Monica doesn't know. There's no way she could know. No way she could know. Right now, I seriously wanted to take a wrench and pry open his head. I should really thank you for at least being willing to use your other brain when you're negotiating business deals. If you used this lovesick brain of yours for business, I can't even imagine how much money we would have lost. Tired of yelling, I began to calmly walk Nathan through the logic. 5 years ago, Monica saw Linda at your place, and after she went home, she broke up with you. 5 years later, Monica was fine during the day, but after running into Linda in the elevator after work, she started ignoring both you and me. The only common denominator between 5 years ago and now is Linda. Even as a kid, Linda was always pulling petty little schemes. If another kid had candy that she didn't, she'd whine and throw a tantrum to get it. If another kid won a prize and she didn't, she'd lie about them to try to get them to lose it too. You say Monica couldn't possibly know you went with Linda to get an abortion? Of course you wouldn't tell her, but are you sure Linda wouldn't? What if she did? I put in a good word for you. You owe me dinner next time. I locked my screen and looked up, putting on my most considerate, gentle, and innocent expression. Monica, who had just sat down, held up a hand in front of me. Just say what you have to say. She looked down. If Liam hadn't convinced me to come and clear the air, I wouldn't have wanted to have anything to do with you two again. Is it because of Linda? I watched her expression. Because you thought Nathan cheated on you with her? That not only did he betray you with her 5 years ago, but now, while pursuing you again, he's keeping her at the company and treating you like a joke. Her eyes flickered. If you already know all this, why did you want to see me? She took a deep breath, trying to choke back a sob. Because what you believe isn't the truth. I gently placed my hand on hers. Monica, can you tell me what you received? Photos, or anything else that made you so sure Nathan cheated? Helen, you were looking for me? Linda pushed open the conference room door and stood cautiously in front of me. I kept my eyes on the report without looking up. Sit. A tense, oppressive silence filled the room. It wasn't until Linda had dug several crescent-shaped marks into her own palm that I finally spoke. The person who was in the elevator with me that day, do you know her? She froze for a second, then nodded hesitantly. Ms. Moss, the head of our partner company. And besides that, I tapped my finger on the table. Do you know that Mr. Reed has been pursuing Ms. Moss recently? What happens between Nathan and Ms. Moss, how would I know? Linda's eyes widened as she waved her hands dismissively. I tapped my finger harder, a clear warning. In the office, you will address him as Mr. Reed. Startled by my glare, she instinctively apologized. I know, I'm sorry, Helen. I watched her scrutinizingly, letting the silence build the pressure. After a moment, I looked away. She let out a secret sigh of relief. The news about Mr. Reed pursuing Ms. Moss is practically all over the company, I said, flipping through a document with a blank expression. And you're telling me you didn't know? Is it that you didn't know, or that you're afraid to know? Linda froze instinctively. Then she forced herself to relax. Helen, I don't understand what you mean. Even if Mr. Reed is pursuing Ms. Moss, I have nothing to be afraid of. Oh. I made a noncommittal sound and pulled a stack of photos from the file folder beside me. I slapped them on the table and pushed them toward her. She was feeling more and more uneasy and looked at me hesitantly. Helen? I motioned with my chin. Go on, flip them over. She didn't move, still trying to resist. I don't want to see. Helen. Then I guess you know what these are. She didn't want to flip them, and I didn't want to waste any more time. I reached out and flipped the photos over myself. They were a collection of photos of her with Nathan, along with some candid shots of Nathan's profile. Familiar? I asked coldly. You should remember. After all, you orchestrated all of this, these photos you sent to Monica 5 years ago. Linda was still trying to hold it together. Even though she was trembling slightly, she refused to admit it. I didn't send them, really. Helen, you must have misunderstood, she said, as if grasping at a lifeline. Was it Ms. Moss who told you this? She must be lying. 5 years ago, when she saw me at Nathan's house, she seemed to have gotten the wrong idea about us. She must still be holding a grudge and is lying now to frame me. I raised an eyebrow and pushed her hand away. You're the one who's misunderstood something. She froze. I'm not a cop, and I'm not a lawyer. I don't need a perfect, airtight chain of evidence, and I don't need a suspect's signed confession. I leaned in closer, looking directly into her eyes that were filled with panic. We grew up together, more or less. You should know how I operate. What I decide is the truth, is the truth. I slowly straightened up. Nathan got into this huge mess because he helped you. Don't you think it's time to settle the score? Linda finally broke. Losing control, she lunged forward and grabbed my hand. Helen, please, I didn't mean to. I really didn't mean to do it. I just wasn't thinking straight. At that moment, I just felt so jealous. She sobbed, trying to explain. I just thought, how could she be so lucky? Nathan is so wonderful, and she wasn't even grateful. She was on the phone throwing a fit at him. And me, I thought I had finally found my soulmate, but that man, he did that to me. She cried as she pulled up her shirt sleeve, revealing the faded scars on her skin. Helen, please, forgive me. Have pity on me, please forgive me, don't tell Nathan, don't tell Mrs. Reed. She begged for forgiveness. I'll talk. I'll tell you everything. I knew from Nathan that he had missed Monica's birthday to handle the MA deal and was going to see her as soon as we got back. So I hired someone to take pictures of me and Nathan returning to the country together, to make Monica think the deal was just an excuse, that he missed her birthday because of me. Nathan promised he would keep my pregnancy a secret, so I begged him to go with me to the abortion clinic, and I had someone take pictures of that too. I sent the photos and the consent form to Monica. That day I went to Nathan's house. I said I was there to thank him, but I had actually messaged Monica, wanting her to see with her own eyes that I was in his house. Nathan is such a good person, really. She buried her face in her hands, weeping. Monica asked him what I was thanking him for, what he had helped me with. And just like he promised, he didn't say a word. He even said it was my private matter and he couldn't tell her. I looked past her, toward the door. Linda, you have really, really disappointed me. Linda whipped her head around. Nathan and Monica were standing right there. Nathan sighed heavily. You should resign. HR will process your severance package as usual. As for my mother, I'll explain everything to her. I cut him off. I've already spoken to your mother. She asked me to apologize to Monica on her behalf. She said she was wrong about you, I said, turning to Monica. Mrs. Reed also said that she would love for you to visit their home sometime, and she hopes you'll give her the chance to apologize in person. Monica gave a slight nod in acceptance. Linda, who had been hoping Nathan's mother might intervene on her behalf, heard this, and the light in her eyes completely died. But it wasn't over. I turned back to Linda and added, your mother's contract has also been terminated. They've reached an agreement. From now on, your mother can no longer take on clients using the Reed family name, nor can she work for any company owned or invested in by the Reeds. Facing Linda's furious glare, I spoke calmly. This was your mother's choice. She is taking responsibility for you. She made a deal with us. We won't sue you for defamation, but she will take you and leave the city. It was a beautiful, sunny day. We were at the cake shop that Monica and Nathan loved, the one Liam and I had also grown fond of. Monica and Nathan sat down across from me, holding hands. The smiles they couldn't contain made me smile too. So, it looks like things went well? Monica nodded shyly. Mrs. Reed was so nice, she kept complimenting me. I even played a couple of games of chess with Mr. Reed Sr. She pressed her lips together to keep from laughing. He said I play better than my grandfather. Nathan, smiling beside her, added, "My mom said I'm the one who's lucky to have Monica." I rolled my eyes playfully and feigned annoyance. "Isn't it obvious? Your mom is just speaking the truth." Yes, you're right, it's the truth." Nathan held up his hands in surrender. After a bit of laughter, Monica cleared her throat and asked tentatively, "Ahem, I heard that you and Liam have been hanging out a lot recently?" I stirred my coffee, answering casually, "Yeah. You two are off being all lovey-dovey. He and I are both free, so we might as well hang out and kill some time." "So, have you considered him?" It took me a second to catch on. "Considered what?" Monica shot me a light glare. I finally got it. Oh, I get it. But it was also kind of funny." "What are you thinking?" "Me and him? What kind of possibility is there? Why not?" She sat up straight, eager to defend her friend. "Liam has never been this close with any of his female friends. Because any female friends he gets close to eventually become his girlfriends," I interrupted, genuinely amused this time. She was at a loss for words, puffing her cheeks out in frustration. "Hey, I get it, I leaned over and patted her head. "I understand. You two are stable now, all sweet and happy every day, and you can't stand seeing me and Liam as single dogs, so you want to play matchmaker, right?" I held up a finger to stop her from arguing. "But, for both of us, being single is just a temporary state. I might tell you in a few days that I'm dating someone, and he might tell you he has a girlfriend. And two, look, I know guys like Liam who love to play the field all too well. Because, coincidentally, so do I." I pointed to Nathan, who had been quiet the whole time. "Nathan knows. I've settled down in recent years and don't play around anymore. But the number of men I've dated is probably no less than the number of women Liam has." I tried to talk Monica out of this unrealistic idea. Like poles of a magnet repel each other. Just like how two people who are too similar aren't suited for a relationship. Being friends is great. Let's just be friends. After saying goodbye to Monica and Nathan, I went home. As I opened my door, I glanced at my neighbor's apartment. The pile of furniture I'd seen before I left was gone. Everything was neat and tidy now. The door was closed, giving no clue as to who my new neighbor might be. The previous neighbors had moved out last week. Before they left, the wife had gossiped with me in a hushed tone. We weren't planning on moving. Our daughter, Annie, is used to living here. If we moved somewhere else, she'd have to adjust all over again. But then the agent said we could pick another apartment in this complex, and he'd negotiate for us. The buyer of our current place would even cover the price difference for the new one. We thought, isn't this like a pie falling from the sky? A bigger place in the same complex, Annie can still play with her friends, so we agreed. It was a bit strange why this new neighbor would go to such lengths and take such a financial hit. But in the end, as long as it wasn't some party all-night trust fund kid moving in, it wouldn't really affect me. That's what I thought at the time. Until the next morning. My doorbell rang. Who could be here this early? I was awake and had already left the comfort of my bed, but I was too lazy to make breakfast and was still lying on the sofa like a corpse. I didn't want to get the door. "It's probably just Monica and Nathan," I muttered, rolling back and forth on the sofa. "Play dead. Pretend you're still asleep. When they see no one's answering, they'll just leave." I closed my eyes and folded my hands over my chest, comforting myself. But 3 minutes passed. The person outside was still relentlessly ringing the doorbell. Fine, I had no choice. I rolled off the sofa and got up. "What is your deal?" I grumbled as I opened the door, but it wasn't Monica and Nathan standing outside. It was Liam, who shouldn't have been here at this time. A question mark appeared over my head. "What are you doing here?" My gaze dropped. "And are you holding breakfast?" Liam smiled and tilted his head. "Aren't you going to let me in first?" I stepped aside to let him in. But even after he had made several trips back and forth to fill the dining table, and we were sitting across from each other with chopsticks and spoons in hand, I still couldn't figure out what was going on. The soup dumplings you like. He slid the plate in front of me. I stared at him intently. He calmly sipped his millet porridge. Is he not going to explain anything? Okay, friend, I couldn't hold it in any longer, I just couldn't wrap my head around it. What are you doing? Do you need my help with something? Even if you did, you wouldn't have to go to these lengths, would you? I pointed to the items on the table one by one. Millet porridge, soup dumplings, soy milk, fried dough sticks, sticky rice in lotus leaf, egg tarts. This is way too much. What on earth do you need help with? I put down my chopsticks and crossed my arms. And, if I'm not mistaken, didn't you just come from next door? Liam ignored my questions and just slowly swallowed his last bite, then looked up at me with a smile. I forgot to tell you. I moved in next door yesterday. Huh? The sucker was right beside me? You're the big sucker. I was tempted to reach out and tap his head to see if I could hear water sloshing around. What's the point of all this? He tilted his head, pretending to think. The annoying guy had an annoyingly handsome face, and annoyingly, it was just my type. The annoying guy spoke. The point is to not be your friend anymore. You want to stay friends, but you never asked for my opinion, did you? Liam tilted his head again. He propped his chin on his hand, smiling like a fox. As for me, I don't want to be your friend anymore. I want to be something more. A closer relationship than just friends. Bonus 1, shipping. Shipping. Anonymous chat mode enabled. Coke, what's going on? Mr. Reed is smiling like he just made $3 billion. Chicken wing, did something happen with Ms. Moss? Can someone go find out? Gummy bear, I'll go. I'm in the executive office, I'll go get the scoop. Green tea, okay, report back ASAP. Gummy bear, I'm back. According to a first-hand source, Mr. Reed and Ms. Moss are officially dating. Apple, OMG. Burger, OMG. Rock candy, OMG. Coke, so does that mean our ship has sailed? We've won. Coke, so what's the fun of coming to work now? Is it over? Orange, you can still ship them even if they're dating. Coke, ugh, you don't get it. Shipping them before they're together and after they're together, the thrill level is completely different. Rock candy, if you're looking for a pre-relationship ship, I think I just found a new one. Green tea, where? Rock candy, I just saw Helen getting out of Liam's car. Gummy bear, oh, them? What's there to ship? Liam and Helen are just pure work buddies, right? Rock candy, no. Liam even brought Helen breakfast. And the way they were smiling at each other, it was different from before. Bonus 2, abs are for my eyes only. My neighbor, world's cutest guy, what time do you get off work today? My boss is still annoying AF, 6. My neighbor, world's cutest guy, okay, I'll have dinner ready when you get back. My neighbor, world's cutest guy, we're having sweet and sour ribs and scallion oil squid tonight. What kind of greens do you want? I'll go buy some. My boss is still annoying AF, oh, I'm not coming home for dinner today. You don't have to make my portion. My neighbor, world's cutest guy, you have plans with friends? My boss is still annoying AF, yep. A friend invited me here. My neighbor, world's cutest guy. My neighbor, world's cutest guy, are you guys going for drinks, or? My boss is still annoying AF, drinks, just drinks. Nothing else. 3 minutes later. My boss is still annoying AF, for real. I'm not kidding. 5 minutes later. My boss is still annoying AF, seriously. Not lying. Another 5 minutes. My boss is still annoying AF, why aren't you answering? My neighbor, world's cutest guy, just did a quick workout. My neighbor, world's cutest guy, okay, I'll believe you for now. My neighbor, world's cutest guy, just make sure you come back before the male stripper show starts. My neighbor, world's cutest guy, if you still want to see some abs, you're always welcome over here. Helen, who once again failed to see any wild abs. Bonus 3, Linda's perspective. The Reed family was the most prominent family in our area. When the older kids talked about their future careers, they all said they wanted to work for a Reed company. The Reeds treated their employees well, with high pay and great benefits. It wasn't just the kids, even the adults hoped to work for them. I was lucky because my mother already did. She was Mrs. Reed's makeup artist. Mrs. Reed was a wonderful person. Not only was she beautiful, but she was also incredibly down to earth. When she heard from my mom that I was always home alone while she worked, Mrs. Reed, worried about a little kid being by herself, told my mom to bring me over after school to play with her son, the young master of the Reed family. Because of this, my mother repeatedly warned me never to anger the young master, to always flatter him and let him have his way. Even though I was 2 years younger than him and just a kindergartner, I took my mother's words to heart and planned to do as she wished. But on my first day at the Reed's house, I discovered things weren't as my mother and I had imagined. The young master's name was Nathan Reed, and he was different from any other boy I had ever met. Like his mother, he was very kind. After he found out Mrs. Reed let me call her Aunt Audrey, he waved his little hand and told me to just call him by his name, Nathan. Nathan was usually very mature, especially in front of us younger kids. He always acted like a big brother. He would ruffle my hair and praise me, smiling and saying, "Linda, you're so smart." He would notice the snack I wanted on another plate and get it for me. But Nathan had too many little brothers and sisters around him. I had to share his attention with all the other kids. Yes, contrary to what my mother thought, I wasn't the only child of an employee that the Reeds had taken in. Besides me, Nathan had many other playmates, children of Reed employees who were brought to the estate under the pretense of keeping Nathan company. I secretly heard one of the nannies say that it was because all the adults were very busy, and Aunt Audrey was worried that other hired help wouldn't be attentive enough and might neglect the children. So she just had all the kids come to their house after school to be looked after by the Reed family's nannies. The usually big brother Nathan only acted like a little brother in front of Helen. Even though Helen was actually 2 months younger than him. In Helen's eyes, Nathan wasn't the young master of the Reed family. At least, not just the young master. When Nathan's teasing went too far, she would punch him. When he couldn't solve a problem, she would solve it and then mock him. Unlike what my mother said, in Helen's eyes, the line between the employer's child and the employee's child was not obvious at all. My mother said it was because Helen's father was very capable, much more so than her. Helen's father was Nathan's father's assistant. He had been by his side since he joined the company in his 20s. So, Helen was different from the rest of us. She had been playing with Nathan at the Reed estate since they were very, very young. She was his true childhood friend. Helen was like everyone's big sister. Whenever one of us had a fight, or wanted to pull a little prank, or wanted to sneak a piece of cake the nannies wouldn't let us have, all we had to do was find Helen and ask, "What should we do?" And she would always have a solution. I wanted to be like Helen so badly. I want to be like Helen. It was a childhood thought I hadn't had in a very, very long time. But it resurfaced when Phil started hitting me. As I cowered in the corner, and the day after he hit me, when he would cry and beg for my forgiveness, I thought of Helen. If it were Helen, she would never let herself end up in a situation like this. If it were Helen, she would have a way to protect herself, to solve this. For the first time, I chose to ignore Phil's warnings and send a message to Aunt Audrey. I didn't expect Nathan to be the one to come. In my mind, it would be one of Aunt Audrey's assistants or someone like that. I never thought Nathan would come himself. He took me to get my injuries checked and to file a police report. It was then that I found out that Phil wasn't the scion of a powerful family like he claimed. He was from a distant branch of the family, and the apartment we lived in was the most the family could give him. I felt like a joke. Nathan didn't understand why I was crying and laughing at the same time. He just thought I was happy to be free. He comforted me just like he did when we were kids. Suddenly, I wondered, if I were with Nathan, would I have ever ended up in a situation like this? Nathan told me about his girlfriend. She was beautiful, smart, and sometimes had a bit of a temper, but was mostly cheerful and loved to laugh. They went to the same university and were planning to go abroad for their master's degrees together after graduating. Her last name was Moss, and her name was Monica. She was the daughter of the Moss family, a perfect match for him in every way. A dark thought took root in my mind. I hired someone to take pictures of me and Nathan at the airport when we returned to the country. When I found out I was pregnant, I cried to Nathan, begging for his help and asking him to keep it a secret from everyone. He was worried about me going to get an abortion alone, so I pushed my luck and asked him to go with me. Nathan was still so kind and gentle. He agreed to everything. And I achieved my goal. I sent the airport photos and the photos of us at the hospital to Monica. Finally, I picked a morning to go to Nathan's house to thank him. Before I went, I sent a message to Monica. Go to Nathan Reed's house now. You'll find out the truth. As expected, Monica came. The look on her face when she opened the door and saw me, I still remember it. It was the expression of someone whose entire world was shattering. But she lived up to the praise Nathan had given her. She maintained a calm facade and asked him what I was doing there. She came to thank me. Thank you for what? What did you help her with? Nathan had promised me, so he couldn't say. Watching Monica's eyes turn red, I tactfully left, closing the door on the argument that was about to erupt. After that, Nathan never contacted me again. My calls and messages were met with polite, brief replies. And then, Helen found out what I had done. My mother, for my sake, also left the Reed service. I don't regret what I did, but I do regret disappointing Aunt Audrey. In the end, I remembered my childhood wish. I want to be like Helen. Did I want to be like Helen so I could get closer to Nathan? Or did I want to get closer to Nathan because I wanted to be like Helen? I can't tell the difference anymore. And I'll never have the chance to. The two people I admired since I was a child, I could have continued to bask in their light from a distance, but I destroyed that chance with my own hands.